and welcome back. In today's video, we will be taking a look at the Spitfire LF Mark 9. This Spitfire variant sits at 5.7 and has a Merlin engine that produces insane amounts of power at lower altitudes. This plane was pretty enjoyable to fly, and I don't really have any massive complaints about it. It does lack in a couple of areas, however. This plane isn't very fast. Most of the German, Russian, and American planes will outrun you, especially at higher altitudes. This plane is tuned for being very good at lower altitudes. You also have to manage your engine from overheating. Once you get into that red and flashing red range, it's not going to cool down very fast. Anyway, starting off, I merged with the BF-109K, and since I have more speed and I also turn better, I try and go up and bait him into a fight here. Instead of taking the fight though, the 109 makes the smart decision and dives away from me. I won't be catching him, so I keep my altitude and I switch targets. So I switch on over here to the Focke-Wulf 190, and I'm not going to really go head on with him. I don't need to here since I have so much more energy, and he actually takes the bait by pitching him towards me. And all I have to do is just stay out of his nose, keep spiraling up here, and he's not going to have enough energy. And he sticks the fight for just a bit too long, and so I'm able to pitch back down and get a pretty quick burst in. And I end up taking his wingtip off from 0.8 kilometers. My aim was pretty nasty this game, I will admit. But yeah, anyway, I switch back over to the K4. And at this point, I realize the K4 is not going to be turning around to take a fight with me. And he's also much faster than me at this altitude. So I break off and go for the furball down at the low altitude. So after some time passes, I am here diving on a Focke-Wulf 190, and I'm a lot faster than him here, but at these speeds I start kind of compressing, and he does the right thing and starts diving downward, and I kind of whiffed the shot here a bit, but yeah, I end up missing. So I go back up, and since I started out faster than him, he's not going to be able to pitch up to me here and get a shot. As long as I go horizontal here like this, it takes him more time to climb, and in the end he will be slower, faster. And so, yeah, all I gotta do is stay out of his guns here. Pretty similar to the last clip of the Focke-Wulf 190. And it's the exact same thing. I get a pretty easy shot here, and I take him out. And now I'm looking for that 109K who I saw in the distance earlier, and he didn't have the, he was actually too fast to dive down to me. So he ends up going back up and then flipping back over. And I'm just going to take this time to climb away and extend, get some energy back, and start equalizing here. Sorry for the Discord overlay. I didn't realize I was also recording that. There will be some problem with that in the video. So anyway, I turn down, and he doesn't follow. Instead, he goes back up. So I'm going to do the same thing and start climbing to increase my altitude. With altitude comes energy. And now I just start heading towards the other group of enemies. And at this point, pretty much my entire team is dead, and I'm basically the only one left. Except for that B-17, but he will die pretty shortly to that Focke-Wulf 190. And now the 109 is coming back in. All I gotta do is just keep climbing until he gets close enough where I have to really start worrying about him. So like right here, I start pitching down, gaining some speed, and then I turn around. And then instead of going down, I predict that he's actually not going to follow. So I could have gone up a bit earlier here, but turning back around that quick does allow me to get a quick shot. And I end up sniping him. Taking his wing off from a kilometer out. I'm pretty sure he was very mad about that. But yeah, now I have 3 enemies coming towards me. I am higher than 2 of them, however, but the Focke-Wulf is going to be the biggest problem here. But in this situation, I don't want it to be a 3v1, so I pick the enemy that is presenting themselves the most, which is the Yak-9P here, and I take him out. And that is a 2v1. Against the 109 and a Focke-Wulf 190. And so, right after dodging the K4, I have to go down to keep gaining speed to dodge the Focke-Wulf at the same time. And now I'm caught up in pretty dangerous fight here. And I make a mistake here by sticking on the Focke-Wulf too long, allowing the 109 to get right behind me. But luckily, with a bit of shimmying, I'm able to kind of stay out of his guns for the most part. He only hits me with a 13mm, maybe once, twice there. In order to effectively fly defensively, you need to keep your speed up, which means during these fights you are going to be rapidly losing a lot of altitude, but I would rather be fast and hard to hit than a slow and easy target. There isn't a point in trying to keep your altitude if you are too slow to dodge the enemy. You end up just being a sitting duck and getting shot down. Anyway, this Focke-Wulf ends up overcommitting and I get a pretty easy shot, but I end up missing. So now I'm just extending away here, gaining some speed before the 109 is close enough to dive on me, and I go under his guns here, and I set up for a reversal. It's very important that in these reversals you do have no speed to dodge. And I try and predict where he's going to be, but I end up missing. But he dodges straight, and I end up getting a pretty easy shot, and I take his wing off. And now it is a 1v1 against a Focke-Wulf 190 Dora. And I have a pretty big advantage here, so he ends up missing. And he had to hit that shot if he wanted any chance to win that fight. And so now I'm firmly on a 6. And my aim goes to crap here. And my engine is overheating. And he's now out of my gun range. So I level off, kind of cool down my engine. And that 109 to my left over there actually ends up returning to base. After a bit of time, I find myself over the airfield with a P-47 just taking off. The Focke-Wulf 190 is running away from me, and I'm just not going to bother wasting time trying to catch a faster plane. Yeah, I'm just waiting, flying straight, keeping my altitude. That 109 doesn't really seem to be paying attention to me, and so I just go for the P-47. It's a very easy target here. I just have to stay out of his guns.
If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
And I end up taking him out. That's 5. Now the Focke-Wulf sees that I'm dealing with P-47 and just tries to make a pass on me, but I just stay out of his guns, I turn up, and I take this into the vertical. And now he's pretty much dead. So I go for the stall shot here. Just miss. Just barely. And now I don't have any more cannon rounds, which is going to be pretty annoying, but in these situations, the Focke-Wulf, he's too close to me to get away. And I kind of do a bit of an overrule here, so I end up trying to bait him back up, and he takes it. Again, he's too close to run away, so he has to dogfight me here. I'm looking around for a BF-109, but I don't see him, so I can keep dogfighting this 190, excuse me. Yeah, this is just me getting in range. I need to make these shots count. And I definitely don't. I only hit 2 shots. But the panic causes him to, hit a tree. He goes down. And I RTB. So right as I take off, the 109 is above me. And then the second 109 that ended up RTBing after I crippled is not too far behind, but far enough behind that he won't matter if this 109 decides to 1v1 me. And so right now, I'm just kind of turning away. I want to use the threat of my airfield here to make him not be as aggressive, but he dives straight down, and so I just extend away. The longer he isn't able to get guns on me, the longer my energy will equalize. Plus, I also perform better down here at these lower altitudes because of my engine power. And he takes a bit of an odd angle. He decides to pitch straight down and go in a straight line after me. And so I turn into him. And I dodge his guns, set up for the reversal. And he goes up. And he actually had enough energy to keep going up, but he instead goes for a loop and decides to try and turn with me, which was not a very smart move, as my plane turns quite a lot better. And with the inside of one more loop, I'm able to get directly on a 6 and take both of his wings off. And now it is a 1v1 against the 109 that I crippled earlier. And you can see him up there. So I just kind of start climbing. And I will continue to climb like this until he is within range of me, where I have to start worrying about his guns. The more altitude I have in this situation, the harder it is for him to kill me, and the more likely it is that I will be able to do something. And so we end up being about 2 kilometers up with enough speed to dodge, and now he dives on me. And so I go straight down, because he will start compressing, and our energies, if I keep going straight down like this, will start to equalize. And so he pulls off, and I go up, and I try and take a shot at him here. But he does a pretty decent job dodging. I do get a good hit on him there, but it's not enough. And so I level off. And you can see the tickets. It just wasn't enough. He ends up running away for the rest of the game, and we lose. So the 1v8 could not be achieved. Moving on, we have a 4-kill match on a frontline map with 2 pretty quick dogfights, pretty quick duels, and then just 2 kind of clean up kills. So starting off, I head towards the J2M as he is presenting himself the most. I'm ignoring the furball for now, because if I dive down, the J2M and the F4U will dive down after me, and I'll just give my 6 to them. That's just not what I want to do. So I'm just kind of flying over, deciding which one I want to go for. The J2M is appearing closer to me, but the F4U is also not reacting, so I'm trying to keep an eye on both of them. Since the J2M starts diving away here, I switch over to the Corsair. I take a little bit of a head-on with the A26 just because I don't want to full commit. He has a lot of guns. But yeah, the J2M turns around, the F4U starts diving away, and so now, if I commit to this, then I'm going to have a bit of trouble with the J2M. So I pull off. And now the problem is, even though I pulled off early, I still overcommitted kind of. So now I'm in a 1v1 with the J2M. I go head on real quick, and then I merge. Very close, but since I'm slower than him, I'm able to pull in and get a quick shot here. And he flies directly into my guns, and I take a swing off. The F4U turned back around once he saw me that I was fighting the J2M, so I'm just kind of pitching down, gaining some speed to dodge the head on, and I pull out of his guns, and then set up for a reversal. So the F4U going into the merge, he didn't have enough speed, which makes it pretty easy for me to stay on him, and he's not going to be able to get away. So yeah, all I got to do is put a couple shots into him and send it back to the hangar. Moving on, this is just me shooting down a Bearcat, and then shooting down the A26B. Moving on, we have a dogfight against a P51H and an F82, and this is also a 3-kill game. So starting off, we are on pretty much equal altitude with this P51H, so I go head on. He kind of does a bit of a weird, like, I don't even know, he turns his wings perpendicular, so I can't really hit the shot, but we merge. And I like to play very aggressive with these Spitfires, just because they get energy quick, they turn well, and you can kind of get away with a lot if you just play aggressively like this. And so he realizes he's not going to be winning that fight, and he dives away, and I'm not going to be catching him. And so right now I'm just kind of gaining altitude back above the P51 and the Spitfire down there, and then I see an F82 behind me. I'm just kind of tipping my wing over to see who's going to react to me. The Spitfire already dives away, and the P51 reacts to me as well. And so I'm just going to extend away and kind of just equalize the energy with the F82 in order to set up for a reversal. So I turn back in, and the P51H down there, he does produce a lot of power, and he can gain energy pretty quickly, so I have to be pretty mindful of him. All I gotta do here is just stay out of the F82's guns. He definitely does not have the elevator authority, And now it's on to the P51H. And right here, I thought he had nowhere near enough energy to go vertical for me. And so I made a slight misjudgment on his energy state. But all I gotta do is just put my plane horizontal like this to his guns so that I present a thin profile and spiral above him, and he will have a very difficult time hitting me. And now I switch back over to the F-82 and take him out. Yeah, the F-82 is not very good in a dogfight. My engine's overheating, I go off flip, and now I just kind of have to try and pitch in for the P-51 here. And since the Spitfire has pretty good turn rate, I'm able to. And so I get a pretty quick shot, and I take his plane apart. So now, this is just my third kill. It is an F4U4B, and I'm at the same altitude as him again, and so I'm diving down to dodge his shots, and he actually doesn't even go for a shot here. And so I'm able to pitch up here, and since I turn so well, and since I retain enough energy, I'm going to be able to get a pretty quick shot, and for some reason he flies straight, I'm going to get a fire set. Eventually, he does go down. I'm going to spare you some time, and also spare you my bad aim here. He does go down. Moving on, we have a 5-kill game, and it's a pretty chaotic one. So, I'm above pretty much everybody right now, and I'm just picking a target. The Yak-3U seems to be occupied with DK-83. So, I'm like contemplating to go for him, but I also see the Spitfire over there who's climbing, so I'm going to let the K-83 go for the Yak-3U, and switch targets to the Spitfire. And also, I do not want to go down there, even though it looks very nice. There's a lot of free targets, a lot of people lower than me. It's just not worth it. And so, I go head on. The Spitfire doesn't pitch in, and doesn't dodge properly, and give me a very easy shot. And so I take him out, and now the Yak-3U actually turned back around. And so I have no speed limit to dodge vertically here, and I go up and over, and I see a 109 in the background. And the Yak-3U is not going to be able to turn around in time, especially with the K-83 on his tail there. And so I'm able to go for the 109 here with no trouble. And the 109 realizes too late, and he is not slow, or he is not fast enough at all to dodge. A bit of sloppy aim there, but I end up taking him out nonetheless. And the Yak-3U ends up getting taken out by the Spitfire. And so now I'm pretty free to dive down. Or excuse me, the Yak-3U will eventually die. But yeah, I'm free to dive down. The P-51 and the F-4U are some pretty easy targets because they're so low. And the Spitfire just craps on them at this altitude, especially when it has an energy advantage. My main target is going to be the H-5. And again, a bit of sloppy aim, but I take the wing off. P-51 comes head on with me, but doesn't have his guns on, so I go head on with him. And now I'm just kind of spraying the F-4U. Turn it back around. The F-4U will go down. And then I switch over back over to the P-51. And he's not going to be able to get his guns on me in time. And so I take him out. And now I'm just kind of climbing away, and these two enemies are going to be a bit of a problem because I'm not going to be able to get away from them because my engine's also going to start overheating soon, and they also just have enough straight line speed to get to me. And so I pitch down, and I'm ready to take the 2v1 here. So first I dodge the F-8F's guns, and I still have enough speed to dodge the Corsair's guns. And now I go up, the F-8F extends away, and I'm locked in a fight with the Corsair. And they played this pretty well, actually. One of them's doing long passes while the other's sticking in a turn fight with me, and this makes it very hard for me to gain any advantage in this type of fight, even though I am a Spitfire. So now I have to level off and straighten out to dodge the F-8F's guns, and now I have to dodge the F-4U guns. So I go down, and after easily dodging the Corsair's guns, I actually pulled a Cobra in my Spitfire and definitely shot both of them down, winning the game with 7 kills. Anyway, moving on to the last match. This is just a very quick ace on Sicily. So I start off by diving on the 109K, and since he's taking it with a head-on with the Spitfire, he is pretty oblivious, and he's just not aware of my presence. And so I take his wing off, and I go back up because there's a 109 as well as a C205 behind me that I do not want to be below. This plane has an excellent climb rate, so it's not too much of an issue. All I gotta do is just keep climbing. So I turn back in, looking to take a fight with the 109, and right now, I'm not pulling directly into him because I'm trying to bait him into a fight, like a turning fight, reversal, and he takes the bait. And so I go up, and within a turn or two, I will be directly on him. And I send him back to the hangar. So now I'm free to dive down on these last two guys. The C205 is dead already. You can see a bit of a chat salt. Yes, those were the guys in the first match with the 1v8 that I couldn't win. But I showed them this game, didn't I? Anyway, I'm diving on the Do 335 to try and save my Bearcat. I'm going a bit too fast, kind of compressing, and I'm able to, my plan is, I'm able to get a quick shot off on the Do 335 before dodging the other one. And that's exactly what happens. So I set fire to the Do 335, and then I loop back over, and this guy just doesn't have enough speed to get away from me. Do 335s, once they're out of energy and altitude, are pretty sad planes. If you made it this far in the video, I would be open to making a Do 335 video, actually. The one at 4.3, I have a couple of clips for it, and I actually think it's a pretty solid plane, besides its maneuverability. Wyverns are your biggest enemy, but yeah. Anyway, this is just me wrapping up the game with a kill on the ME-264. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any suggestions for a plane to fly on, just leave that down in the comments, and thanks for watching.